10 world records that you can't repeat. Records are meant to be broken, but not all of them. Some are better left alone and not to be trifled with. Why? Because it could very much cost you more than just a broken bone. But if you're like any of these 10 record setters on our list, you might just be crazy enough to try and break them. From the world's highest jump from space to the longest time spent on a gurney, here are 10 world records that you can't repeat. Let's go. If you enjoy our content, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe and click the notification bell for more. Let's begin. Number 10. World's largest pizza. Pizza would get a unanimous cheer from most people on the planet for being everyone's favourite food. Baked bread with tons of cheese and toppings of your choice. I mean, what's not to like?
And what are you doing with this? I'm eating.
If you're someone who just can't live without pizza over your own significant other, then this next record might win you over completely. Meet the largest pizza in the world. It's not fake and it's completely edible. This one was baked up in Italy on December 13th, 2012 by famous chefs around the country. Chefs like Divino Nardi, Andrea Manocchi, Marco Nardi, Matteo Nardi and Matteo Gianotti, who brought this creation to life. It required an incredible amount of ingredients to bake, around 19,800 pounds of flour, 8,800 pounds of tomato sauce, 1,500 pounds of margarine, 550 pounds of rock salt, 420 pounds of vegetable oil, 50 pounds of balsamic vinegar and another 19,800 pounds of cheese. That's enough to feed a small village. The pizza was around 13,580 square feet, and it was cut up into slices to feed the hungry people at food shelters around Rome. Number 9. The heaviest man. When we say there's a record for everything, we mean everything, even for things which are evidently not good for the physical well-being of record setters themselves. This one was not an intentional attempt, but just life. John Brower Minnick was from Washington State. At the age of 12, he was already 135 kilos, making him severely overweight for his age and height. This only got worse when he reached his peak weight in 1978 at an incredible 635 kilograms, making him the heaviest man ever. That's the weight of 8 grown adult men in total.
See what you made me do? God damn it, I messed up my pants.
Due to his weight issues, he suffered from heart and respiratory failure in the same year and was admitted to University Hospital in Seattle. But the craziest part was that it took 12 firemen to remove him from his residence and transport him to the hospital. 12 people! Once at the hospital, doctors diagnosed him and estimated that he carried around 400 grams of fat around him, which is a massive amount. In a country where more than 1/3 of the adults are overweight, this number is not really surprising. John had to live in the hospital for the next 2 years and slept on 2 beds attached together. Things weren't easy for the doctors either, since it required 13 medical staff to roll him over to the side. While he was in hospital, he also met his wife, named Jeanette, and they set a record together for the biggest weight difference between spouses. She weighed a mere 50 kilograms. That's 2 records to John's credit. Number 8. Human mattress domino fall. Some people do come up with strange and bizarre world records to break. This one certainly looks fun though. We've seen tons of domino videos online, but have you seen something like this? The human mattress domino fall is the new variant over your classic dominoes. It's similar to human dominoes, but with the addition of having a mattress tied to the person. The record-breaking challenge took place at the massive Gaylord Resort and Conference Center in National Harbor in Maryland and included 1,200 participants. All of them were tied to a twin-sized mattress and were lined up inside the huge hall for the showdown. Once the chain reaction went off, it was a hilarious commotion of people knocking over each other with their mattresses. The whole thing took more than 13 minutes to complete. Once the record was achieved, all the mattresses were donated to people in need in the greater Washington, D.C. area. Good call. Number 7. Most jello eaten with chopsticks in 1 minute. Here's a record that looks easy enough, but in reality is way more difficult to break. What you gotta do? Just eat jello as much as you can in under 1 minute. But wait, that's not all. You can only eat it with a chopstick while the other hand is behind your back.
Dude, that's our food.
Yep. And you're running low on supplies.
Not so easy anymore now, is it? The current record is at 3.2 ounces, which is hardly anything. This should give you an idea about how difficult this challenge really is. If you're up for the task, you're free to use any jello flavour of your liking and give it your best. Maybe you can be the next reigning jello champion. Number 6. Longest time spent on a gurney. This is an odd one. It's not exactly a record that keeps you on the edge of your seat, but it is interesting nonetheless. This situation happened to a 40-year-old British man by the name of Collins. Collins was a diabetic and he caught a virus which forced him to be admitted to a hospital. He ended up at the Great Western Hospital in Swindon, England on Saturday of February 24, 2001. But things didn't go as planned. He was placed on a gurney and was told he had to wait for a bed to clear up. But little did he know he would be spending the next 77 hours and 30 minutes on a gurney in a hallway outside the bathroom while waiting. Finally, by Tuesday 8:30 p.m, he was moved to a bed. This was an unprecedented record, so Guinness had to make a new category just for Collins' situation. Coincidentally, when Guinness was verifying this claim, Collins fell ill again, and he was back on the gurney limbo for 60 hours. He really needs to stop going to this hospital again. Number 5. The most prolific parents. Here's a strange record which is true. Fyodor Vasilyev was unlike any other man on the planet. Born around 1707 in the Shuya district in Moscow, Fyodor was a peasant and the ultimate dad. How was he the ultimate dad? Well, he wasn't a dad to just 1 or 2 children, but to 87. That is an incredible number of kids to have running around you all day. Parenting in this case would have been torturous. He started on this noble task of being fruitful and multiplying at the age of 18 and continued till he was 58 years old. He was able to father 22 sets of twins, 9 sets of triplets and 4 sets of quadruplets with his 2 wives. When he was interviewed at the age of 75, 84 out of his 87 children were still alive and well. That was a big deal back then when most people didn't make it past the age of 50. Because of his prolific career as a father, he was invited to St. Petersburg to meet the Empress Catherine II. He became quite the celebrity in his time. Naturally, Fyodor's first wife, Valentina Vasilyev, nabs the title of being the most prolific mother and bore 69 children in total. Crazy. Number 4. Most wins at the World Beard and Moustache Championships. With recent popularity around growing beards and moustaches thanks to social movements like No Shave November, men are embracing the unshaven look. But beards and moustaches have been around for centuries, and so did their appreciation. The mecca of everything related to facial hair competition is the World Beard and Moustache Championships that takes place every 2 years. Men from around the world come to compete in this prestigious event and bask in the publicity that their manly beards and moustaches receive. The competition features various categories which the participants can choose and compete in. One particular competitor had the upper hand for 8 consecutive years in the category of Imperial Partial Beard. Mr. Karl-Heinz Hill from Germany held the throne with this incredible and commanding moustache. Just look at it. Now that's a moustache with presence. Think this is a competition that you'd be interested in? Let us know in the comments. Number 3. Fall from space. This is an incredible record that most of us tuned in back in 2012. Austrian Felix Baumgartner had the world in bated breath when he leapt off a giant helium balloon and plummeted back to Earth. The whole stunt was achieved with the help of the Red Bull Stratus team and led to Felix breaking 5 world records. He broke the record for the highest freefall parachute jump, the greatest freefall distance, the first person to break the sound barrier in freefall, the highest vertical speed in freefall, and something different, the most concurrent views of a live stream on YouTube. Not a bad gig, right? He was taken to the center of the stratosphere and then leapt and descended at an insane speed of 833.9 miles per hour. It took him 9 minutes to descend and land on the attempt site in Roswell. I doubt anyone is going to break this record anytime soon. Number 2. Man covered by most bees. Now for a record which most of us never would even dream of breaking. Meet the man who broke the record for being covered with the most number of bees. Doesn't sound so fun, does it?
I guess not!
Ruan Liangnin from China achieved this incredible feat not by wearing a beekeeper suit, but with minimal amount of clothing on. The record was captured in China and Ruan had to have corks plugged in any openings which might potentially prove fatal if the bees got in. The record was measured by weight. They calculated the total weight including the bees and deducted Ruan's body weight. What they were left with was 2 ounces shy of 137 pounds. That's 137 pounds of bee weight. Ruan sure loves the bees, and we're sure the bees love him too. Clearly. Pretty crazy nonetheless. Number 1. World's highest shallow dive. Anyone who's learned how to dive at the school swimming pool knows how painful it can be if not done right. You dive belly flat and you're in for a world of pain. Eventually, you work through the pain with a flushed upper body and finally land a proper dive. But imagine diving from on top of a 3-story building or higher into a small puddle not deeper than 12 inches. Welcome to the world of shallow diving. This is a real sport and a dangerous one for obvious reasons. Divers don't have the luxury of depth in this case, and any miscalculations or wrong moves can land them in a world of trouble. But with every sport, there will be legends who defy expectations and records. Darren Taylor, also known as Professor Splash, is an American shallow diver who achieved the Guinness World Record for the highest shallow dive. He jumped from a platform 10.3 meters high into a small pool that had around a foot of water. That is an incredible feat since the margin of error is razor thin. A true legend indeed. With that, we've covered 10 world records that you can't repeat, and for good reason. Did you like a particular record, and do you think you can break it? Let us know in the comments. Before you leave, be sure to hit the like button, share and subscribe. Until next time, see ya!